بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So it says باب رفع الصوت بالتلبية, saying لبيك الله with a raised voice. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا عبد الله بن أبي بكر أن عبد الملك بن أبي بكر الحارث بن هشام أخبره أن خلاد بن السائب الأنصاري ثم من بني الحارث بن خزرج أخبره أن أباه أخبره أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: أتاني جبريل عليه السلام فأمرني أن آمر أصحابي أو من معي أن يرفعوا أصواتهم بالإهلال بالتلبية. So Malik informed us from Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr, who informed us from Abdul Malik ibn Abi Bakr ibn Harith ibn Hashim in Hisham told him that Khalid ibn Sa'ad al-Ansari of Banu Harith ibn al-Khazraj told him that his father told him that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Jibreel came to me alayhi salam and ordered me to order my companions to raise their voices with the declaration of Labbaik. Right, and so to raise the voice, it shouldn't be done quietly, but it shouldn't be done to the extent that you should do it to the extent that you can keep going. So if it's so loud that you can't keep going, you shouldn't do it like that. قال محمد وهذا نأخذ رفع الصوت بالتلبية أفضل وهو قول أبي حنيفة والعامة من فقهائنا. Right, remind ourselves فقهائنا meaning the Kufans. The Hanafi school is not the Hanafi school, it is the Kufan school, large body of people. باب القران بين الحج والعمرة. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا محمد بن عبد الرحمن بن نوفل الأسدي أن سليمان بن يسار أخبره أن رسول الله مرسل الحديث أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عام حجة الوداع كان من أصحابه من أهل بحج ومن أهل بعمرة ومنهم من جمع بين الحج والعمرة فحل من كان أهل بالعمرة وأما من كان أهل بالحج أو جمع بين الحج والعمرة فلم يحلوا. So it says, Malik informed us from Muhammad ibn Abdurrahman ibn Nawfal al-Asadi, informed us that Sulaiman ibn Yasar said to him, told him that of the companions of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu in the year of his final Hajj, there were those who entered Ihram for Hajj, i.e. it's called Ifrad, just Hajj, and those who entered Ihram for Umrah, i.e. Umrah, and those who combined Qiran. He said this is a Hajj and Umrah. And those who had entered Ihram for Umrah became free of Ihram, i.e. so you arrived, they did the Tawaf, did your Sa'i, cut your hair, that's it. But as for those who had entered Ihram for Hajj, or those who had combined, they didn't. Right? So when you're doing Qiran, so you can do Ifrad, just Hajj. You can do Qiran, Hajj and Umrah at the same time. Or you can do Tamattu', which is I'm going to arrive, I'm going to enter Ihram for Hajj and Umrah as Tamattu', arrive, do my Umrah, exit Ihram, okay? Then I'm going to enter Ihram again without going back to the miqat, from where I am. Enter Ihram again, a day later, a week later, whenever it is, okay? And then do my Hajj. Then in the Shafi school, then I have to slaughter on Eid. Right? You're going to have to slaughter for that. Right? So otherwise, slaughtering is sunnah in the Shafi school. Right? So you've got just Hajj, Hajj and Umrah, Umrah then Hajj, and Umrah then Hajj, Hajj. That's what it is. And Umrah then Hajj, Hajj. Right? So he says, قال محمد وهذا نأخذ وهو قول أبي حنيفة رحمه والعامة. Right? قال Muhammad, we adhere to this, the verdict of Imam Hanifa and our fuqaha in general. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا نافع أن عبد الله بن عمر خرج في الفتنة معتمرا وقال إن صددت عن البيت صنعنا كما صنعنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال فخرج فأهل بالعمرة وسار حتى إذا ظهر على ظهر البيضاء التفت إلى أصحابه قال ما أمرهما إلا واحد أشهدكم أني قد أوجبت الحج مع العمرة فخرج حتى جاء البيت وطاف به طاف بين الصفا والمروة سبعا سبعا لم يزد على ذلك ورأى ذلك مجزعا عنه وأهدى. Right. So Malik informed us that Nafi' said that Abdullah ibn Umar set out during the time of civil disturbance, the fitna, right, between presumably this is between the between Abdullah ibn Zubayr and the Umayyads. And he said, if I am prevented from reaching the house, we shall do as we did with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, i.e., slaughter our animal and shave our head there, right, as ihsar. Nafi' said, so he set out and entered ihram for Umrah, continued until when he was out on the plain, he turned to his companions and said, there can only be one thing to do in either case, i.e., so therefore I declare that I have been made ihram obligatory with the Umrah. He's doing Qiran. So he went forth until when he reached the house, he went out around it and went to and fro between Safa and Marwa, each 7 times and no more. And he considered that had acquitted him, i.e., of his Umrah, and then slaughtered his sacrifice animal. But that doesn't mean he didn't do, because he's doing it. So that doesn't mean he didn't do his, um, he still has to go to Arafah and Muzdalifah and everything, right, for the Hajj. But the point is, he's now finished his Umrah that he needs to have done. So the point with Qiran is you're doing the two things at the same time. So when you're doing the seventh tawaf for Umrah, that is also your seventh tawaf for Hajj, right? It's one thing. Right? The benefit of Tamattu' is that you can go early and leave Ihram. Okay, so you go for 3 weeks to Mecca. You arrive, do your Umrah, leave Ihram. It's great. And then later on enter Ihram again. Right? But if you do Ifrad or you do Qiran, you can't do that. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا صدقة بن يسار المكي قال سمعت عبد الله بن عمر ودخلنا عليه قبل يوم التروية بيومين أو يوم أو 3 ودخل عليه الناس يسألونه فدخل عليه رجل من أهل اليمن ثائر الرأس فقال يا أبا عبد الرحمن إني ضفرت رأسي وأحرمت بعمرة مفردة فماذا ترى؟ قال ابن عمر لو كنت معك حين أحرمت لأمرتك أن تهل بهما جميعا فإذا قدمت طفت بالبيت وبالصفا والمروة وكنت على إحرامك لا تحل من شيء حتى تحل منهما جميعا يوم النحر وتنحر هديك. قال ابن عمر خذ ما تطاير من شعرك واهدي. فقالت له امرأة في البيت وما هديه يا عبد الرحمن؟ قال هديه 3 كل ذلك يقول هديه. ثم سكت ابن عمر حتى إذا أردنا الخروج قال أما والله لو لم أجد إلا شاة لكان أرى أن أذبحها أحب إلي من أن أصوم. Um, so it says Malik informed us that Sadaqa ibn Yasar, the Al-Makki, narrated to us that he heard Abdullah ibn Umar, we having visited him 2 or 3 days before the day of Tarwiyah, the 8th of the Hijjah, and the people were going to see him to question him, to ask him questions. A man from Yemen with flaring hair went in to see him and said, "Oh, Abu Abdurrahman, I plaited my hair. Plaited, I don't know. I don't know what the difference are. I plaited my hair and entered Ihram explicitly for Umrah. So what do you think? Is that okay?" Ibn Umar said, "Had I been with you when you entered Ihram, I would have ordered you to declare them both, Hajj and Umrah. Then when you arrived, you would have gone around the house Safa and Marwa, and still being in Ihram, not being free of anything until you had become free of them together on the day you slaughtered. Remember, that's what I mentioned, right? Is that you still have to do these things. Then you would have slaughtered again. And then Ibn Umar said, cut what is blowing or all over your head and slaughter a hadi offering. So a woman in the house said, uh, and what is its due offering, O Abu Abdurrahman? And he said three times, its offering, its offering. Um, so Sadaqa said, then Ibn Umar went silent until when he intended to leave, he said, I shall say, by Allah, if I could find nothing but a sheep, I prefer I consider it, I would consider it preferable to slaughter than to fast, right? So what he's talking about is his hair's too long, whatever. So cutting your head to expiate for doing this, you either slaughter or you cut. You fast for 2 days. You either feed the poor or you slaughter animal or you fast for 3 days. He said it's better to fast for 3 days. That's what he's trying to say. قال محمد وبهذا نأخذ القران أفضل كما قال عبد الله بن عمر فإذا كانت العمرة وقد حضر الحج فطاف لها وسعى فليقصر ثم ليحرم بالحج فإذا كان يوم نحر حلق وشاة تجزئه كما قال عبد الله بن عمر وهو قول أبي حنيفة والعامة من فقهائنا. Muhammad said we adhere to this. Performing them in one is better, as Abdullah ibn Umar said. So if he is on Umrah and Hajj has begun, and he has done the tawaf and the sa'i for his Umrah, then let him shorten his hair, i.e., and not shave it, and enter Ihram for Hajj. Then on the day of slaughter, he should shave, and a sheep will acquit him, will suffice him, as Abdullah ibn Umar said. And that is the verdict of Imam Hanifa and the fuqaha and our fuqaha in general. Ya Rab. So, from what I recall in the man Hanafi school, tamattu is the best thing, not qiran. So I don't, Allahu alam. Maybe he's saying it's better than Umrah. I'm not sure. So if he's on Umrah and Hajj has begun and he has done his tawaf and sa'i on Umrah, let him shorten his hair and enter ihram for Hajj. So Allahu alam. I'm not sure of the fiqh here of the Hanafi school. أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا ابن شهاب أن محمد بن عبد الله بن نوفل بن حارث بن عبد المطلب حدثنا أنه سمع سعد بن أبي وقاص والضحاك بن قيس عام حج معاوية بن أبي سفيان وهما يذكران التمتع بالعمرة إلى الحج فقال الضحاك بن قيس لا يصنع ذلك إلا من جهل أمر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال سعد بن أبي وقاص بئس ما قلت لقد صنعها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وصنعناها معه. Malik informed us that Ibn Shihab informed us that Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Nawfal and Harith ibn Abdul Muttalib narrated us that he heard Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas and Dhahak ibn Qais on the year that Muawiyah did Ibn Abi Sufyan perform Hajj, talking about proceeding from Umrah to perform Hajj. As I mentioned, that's called Tamattu', right? When you arrive, you do your Tamattu', you do your Umrah, you exit Ihram, and then you do Ihram from that point, from Mecca itself. No one does that except someone who has no understanding of the command of Allah, exalted is He. So Sa'd ibn Waqqas said, what an evil thing to say. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ did it, I did tamattu', and we did it with him. قال محمد القران عندنا أفضل من الإفراد بالحج وإفراد العمرة فإذا قارن طاف بالبيت لعمرته وسعى بين الصفا والمروة وطاف بالبيت لحجته وسعى بين الصفا والمروة طوافان وسعيان أحب إلينا من طواف واحد وسعي واحد ثبت ذلك بما جاء عن علي بن أبي طالب أنه أمر القارن بطوافين وسعيين وبه نأخذ وهو قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى والعامة من فقهائنا. So he says performing them in one is better in our opinion than performing Hajj alone and then Umrah alone. Uh, so when performing them in one, he should go around the house and go between Safa and Marwa for his Umrah and go around the Hajj and go around Safa and Marwa for his Hajj, performing Tawaf and Sa'i each twice. Right? This is not the Shafi school. It is preferable to us than once. That is affirmed by what has been reported from Sayyidina Ali, and that he ordered the person who completes a couple's Hajj and Umrah to perform Tawaf and Sa'i each twice. We go according to that, and this is the verdict of Abu Hanifa rahimahullah ta'ala and our fuqaha in general. So it's not really Qiran then, in the sense that Shafi's the same Qiran. It's slightly different. أخبرنا مالك أخبر نافع عن عبد الله بن عمر أن
Sheikh,
عمر
one doubt.
Go ahead.
So you said it's not really Quran means
So the
why
way,
did you?
because Quran for the Shafi'is, we understand it Quran as like you're literally when you're going around the Kaaba, you're doing it's a Hajj and Umrah at the same time. You're doing one action that counts as two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Whereas
the
here, this
Hanafis are
description
saying
of
it's one
Sayyidina
ihram,
Ali
right?
is kind of like really, I mean, kind of doing the thing at the same time as opposed to, it's more like doing the thing as opposed to it actually merging, right?
Okay.
Allahu
I
Alam.
think Hanafi say one ihram is Quran, right? That's their understanding.
Yeah, so there's one, so, but it's, yeah, Allahu Alam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
أخبرنا مالك أخبر نافع عن عبد الله بن عمر أن عمر الخطاب قال افصلوا بين حجكم وعمرتكم فإنه أتم الحج فإنه أتم لحج أحدكم وأتم لعمرته أن يعتمر في غير أشهر الحج. Right. So Malik informed us from Nafi' from Abdullah ibn Umar that Umar al-Khattab said, separate your Hajj from your Umrah. Right. Don't do tamattu. For that gives more weight to your Hajj and gives more weight to your Umrah to perform it outside the months of Hajj. So i.e. don't do it, don't do tamattu. Come, do an ihram, stay and no. قال محمد يعتمر الرجل ويرجع إلى أهله ثم يحج ويرجع إلى أهله يكون ذلك في سفرين أفضل من القران ولكن القران أفضل من الحج مفردا والعمرة من مكة ومن التمتع والحج من مكة لأنه إذا قارن كانت عمرته وحجته من بلده وإذا تمتع كانت حجته مكية وإذا أفرد بالحج كانت عمرته مكية فالقران أفضل وهو قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله والعامة من فقهائنا. So Muhammad says a man can perform Umrah and return to his family and then perform Hajj and return to his family. For doing that in two journeys is better than performing them in one, right? And this is actually the Shafi school. Ifrad is better. However, performing them in one is better than performing Hajj explicitly and then Umrah from Mecca, which is, yeah, like in Al-Quran, oh no, that's been one, من الحج مفرد better than, yeah. Or proceeding from Umrah to perform Hajj from Mecca. For if he performs them in one, both his Umrah and Hajj is from his own land. While if he proceeds from Umrah if he proceeds from Umrah, his Hajj will be Meccan. Right? He's only coming from Mecca. And if he performs Hajj explicitly, exclusively, I think the word is, not explicitly, exclusively, his Umrah will be Meccan. So performing them in one is better, and that is the verdict of Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah, and of our fuqaha in general. Right? Because the point is, you both of them consider coming from your house. من أهدى هديا وهو مقيم, sending an offering while remaining resident. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا عبد الله بن أبي بكر بن محمد بن عمرو بن حزم أن عمرة بنت عبد الرحمن أخبرته أن ابن زياد بن أبي سفيان كتب إلى عائشة أن ابن عباس قال: من أهدى هديا حرم عليه ما يحرم على الحاج. Right? Okay, we'll read that in a second. وقد بعثت بهدي فاكتبي إلي بأمرك ومري صاحب الهدي. قالت عمرة: قالت عائشة: ليس كما قال ابن عباس. أنا فتلت قلائد هدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بيدي، ثم قلدها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بيده وبعث بها مع أبي، ثم لم يحرم على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم شيء كان أحله الله حتى نحر الهدي. Right? So, so the question is, uh, does pilgrim sanctity, is it tied to the slaughtering of the animal, or is it tied to ihram itself? So Malik informed us from Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr ibn Amr ibn Hazm, who narrated that Amra bint Abdurrahman told him that Ziyad ibn Abi Sufyan wrote to Aisha saying that Ibn Abbas has said, whoever sends an offering, then those things which are inviolable to someone performing Hajj become inviolable for him. So the fact that you sent an animal to be slaughtered there. And I have sent my offering, so write to me with your instructions or instruct the person accompanying the offering. Amra said, so Aisha said, it is not as Ibn Abbas said, I twisted the garlands of the offering of the Prophet ﷺ, i.e. the animal itself, with my own hand, and then the Messenger of Allah ﷺ placed them on his with his own hand and sent them with my father. And nothing of what Allah has permitted then became invariable to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ until the offering was slaughtered. Right? So it doesn't apply. So I sunnah, right? If you're gonna slaughter, to those days you don't cut your nails, etc., etc., etc. But otherwise, it's not haram. قال أبو محمد: وبهذا نأخذ إنما يحرم على الذي يتوجه مع هديه يريد مكة وقد ساق بدنة وقلدها، فهذا يكون محرما بين حين يتوجه مع بدنته المقلدة بما أراد من حج وعمرة. فما إذا كان مقيما في أهله لم يكن محرما ولم يحرم عليه شيء حل له، وهو قول أبي حنيفة رحمه الله. Muhammad said we adhere to this: the inviolable pertains to somebody, right, who sets out with his offering, heading to Mecca, and who has driven and garlanded his sacrificed animals. This person is in ihram while he is in his way with his garlanded sacrificed animals, with whatever he has intended of Hajj and Umrah. As for if he is if he is resident with his family and he's not in ihram, and nothing which is halal for him is haram for him, and then that is the verdict of Imam Hanif, etc. So this positions are crazy, right? For us today, like, what are you talking about? Why would it be haram if you're going to slaughter on Eid? Why would it be? Or if you're going to send an animal to be slaughtered in the Mecca, like why would you be in ihram? So it's a very important thing to understand is that this clarity that we're in right now, or the former dhahib, right, and the shared concept they have, it wasn't always there, right? In the time of Imam Malik, there's certain positions that are like, oh, what's that? Really different. People are saying things. So Imam Malik is intentionally correcting things and saying, by the way, there's a hadith that says no, because look, this thing exists. So this is the concept of the shawad opinions, right? A fringe opinion that is cut out. And it's very important to understand that these certain opinions, particularly of the Meccans and of other scholars as well, they were cut out bit by bit, right? Such that they don't exist today. But once they did exist, right, there were certain opinions there. Okay. باب باب تقليد البدن وإشعارهم, garlanding and branding sacrifice animals. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع عن عبد الله بن عمر أنه كان إذا أهدى هديا من المدينة قلده وأشعر بذلك بذي الحليفة يقلده قبل أن يشعره ذلك في مكان واحد وهو موجه إلى القبلة يقلده بنعلين ويشعره من شقه الأيسر ثم يساق معه حتى يوقف معه مع الناس بعرفة ثم يدفع به معهم إذا دفعوا فإذا قدم من غداة يوم النحر نحره قبل أن يحلق أو يقصر وكان ينحر هديه بيده يصفهم قياما ويوجههم إلى القبلة ثم يأكل ويطعم. So Malik informed us from Nafi' that Abdullah ibn Umar, when he used to dedicate his hadi offering, his animal to sacrifice from Medina, he would garland, right, and brand it. So here this is yush'ir, right? Yuqalliduhu is you're putting things around its neck, right? Like, dressing it up, right? Um, but ish'ar is with a camel is cutting into its skin such that it bleeds a bit, right? So this is done with a large animal, like a camel, right? So you cut into its skin so it makes a mark on it, right? So branding is usually with a um, branding usually means with the with the to burn, right? But this is sha'ar. It's not. This is not saying this is so. But yuqalliduhu bi na'layn. What does that mean? How do you There's my commentary over here. So he garlanded it with two sandals. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he put like nice things around its feet. I don't know. I'm not sure what he did. But the point is that he branded it. He marked it. Right. In reality, what he did is ish'ar is to cut into the skin. Um, and then he would have it driven along with him until he stood with it with the people at Arafah. Then he would move on with it when they moved. Right? When he came to Mina on the morning of the day of sacrifice, he would sacrifice it before shaving or shortening his hair. So it's important to understand how the weird world we live in, right? Like if you think about it, like somebody walking from Uzbekistan, right? You traveled from Uzbekistan with a Bactrian camel, and you took that all the way through Iran, Kurdistan, down to the desert, entered Ihram with this camel, and you made it there. And you took it to this place, took it to that place. Like we really don't live life not that we don't not that our life is different. We're not alive, right? They're like really alive, right? They're doing so many things in their life. It's like it's such an extreme thing. They're living, it's extremely hot. They're going extremely far. They have to walk all these differences, and we're just like sitting here, oh, pay this ticket and get somebody to slaughter an animal for you. It's a totally different world, subhanAllah. Um, okay, so he would have it driven along with him until he stood with the people at Arafah. Then it would be moved on with him when they moved on. Then he came to Mina on the morning of the day he sacrificed it before shaving or cutting his hair. He would sacrifice his sacrifice animal with his own hand, lining them up towards the Qibla. Then he would eat the meat and feed the poor. Right? And it says أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع أن عبد الله بن عمر كان إذا وخز في سنام بدنه وهو يشعرها قال بسم الله والله أكبر. So Malik informed us that Nafi' narrated to us that Abdullah ibn Umar nicked the hump. That's the phrase, to nick it, right? The hump of his sacrifice animal with while branding them. He used to say Bismillah wallahu Akbar, right? So it's not cutting in with a knife like stabbing in. It's that basically you cut a little bit into the skin so you kind of it makes it a line of red basically. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع أن ابن عمر كان يشعر بدنته في الشق الأيسر إلا أن تكون صعابا مقرنة فإذا لم يستطع أن يدخل بينها أشعر من الشق الأيمن وإذا أراد أن يشعرها وجهها إلى القبلة قال فإذا أشعرها قال بسم الله والله أكبر وكان يشعرها بيده وينحرها بيده قياما. Malik informed us from Nafi' that Nafi' narrated to us that Ibn Umar used to brand his sacrifice animals with the left side unless they were obstinate and paired. This is, I don't know, Allah Alam. That's the right translation. If he was unable to get in between them, he would brand them on the right side. Oh. When he wanted to brand them, he would make them face the Qibla. He said, when he branded them, he said, Bismillah, Allah is greater. He used to brand them with his own hand and sacrifice them while they were standing with his own hand. Right? قال محمد بهذا نأخذ التقليد أفضل من الإشعار والإشعار حسن والإشعار من الجانب الأيسر إلا أن تكون الصعاب المقارنة لا يستطيع أن يدخل بينهما فليشعرها الأيسر أو الأيمن. Right? So it said, we adhere to this. Garlanding is better than branding, but branding them on the left side is good unless they are obstinate and paired. So that, I think the translation is off here. I think that's the meaning of it. Wallahu alam. When we look into the commentary, it doesn't make sense here. Unless they are obstinate and paired so that one is unable to get between them, in which case one should brand them on the right side. Wallahu alam. باب من تطيب قبل أن يحرم, perfuming oneself before entering ihram. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا نافع عن أسلم مولى عمر بن الخطاب أن عمر بن الخطاب وجد ريح طيب وهو بالشجرة فقال ممن ريح هذا الطيب فقال معاوية بن أبي سفيان مني يا أمير المؤمنين قال منك لعمري قال يا أمير المؤمنين إن أم حبيبة طيبتني قال عزمت عليك لترجعن فلتغسلنه. Right, so Malik informed us from Nafi', narrated to us from Aslam, the freed slave of Umar al-Khattab, that Umar al-Khattab detected the scent of perfume while he was at Ash-Shajara. He said, "From whom is this scent of perfume?" Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan said, "From me, O leader of the faithful." Umar said, "From you, by my life." Muawiyah said, "Amir al-Mu'minin, Habiba put the perfume on me." Umar said, "I insist you go back and wash it off." أخبرنا مالك أخبرنا الصلت بن زبيد عن غير واحد من أهله أن عمر الخطاب وجد ريح طيب وهو بالشجرة وإلى جنبه كثير من الصلت فقال ممن ريح هذا قال كثير مني لبت رأسي وأردت أن أحلق قال عمر فاذهب إلى شربة فادلك منها رأسك حتى تنقيه ففعل كثير من الصلت. Malik informed us from As-Salt ibn Subayd, who informed us from more than one of his family that Umar al-Khattab detected the scent of perfume while he was at Ash-Shajara, and at his side was Kathir ibn As-Salt. Um, so he said, "From whom is the scent of this perfume?" Kathir said, "From me. I tucked my hair into a bun, and I was meaning to shave." Amr said, "Then go to the palm trough and rinse your hair until you have cleaned it." And so Kathir ibn Asad did so. And so therefore, even if it's beforehand, still considered sinful according to this position. قال أحمد وهذا نأخذ لا أرى أن يتطيب المحرم حين يري الإحرام إلا أن يتطيب ثم يغتسل بعد ذلك. وأما أبو حنيفة فإنه كان لا يرى به بأسا. Right, so this Hanafi school, the position of Imam Hanifa is the position of Imam Shafi as well, right? Muhammad said, "We adhere to this. I don't think someone who is going to into Ihram should put on perfume unless he puts on and bathes afterwards. As for Imam Hanifa, he said there's no harm in it." That latter position I mentioned is Shafi school as well. باب من ساق هديا عطبه في الطريق أو نذر بدنة. Driving an offering which then has an accident on the way, or vowing to slaughter a camel. أخبرنا مالك حدثنا ابن شهاب عن سعيد المسيب أنه كان يقول: من ساق بدنة تطوعا ثم عطبت فنحرها فليجعل قلادتها ونعلها في دمها ثم يتركها للناس يأكلونها وليس عليه شيء، فإن هو أكل منها أو أمر بأكلها فعليه الغرم. Malik informed us that Ibn Shiham noticed from Sa'id al-Musayyab that he used to say, "Whoever drives a camel as a voluntary sacrifice, which then suffers an accident, so he slaughters it, let him put its garlands and sandals." I think we need to come back to this hadith here because this doesn't make sense. Let's come back to this hadith, inshallah. My commentary's downstairs, so we get it next time. If you can remind me, inshallah, to explain this hadith, because translation doesn't make sense. What do you mean by sandals? What's good? It doesn't make sense here. I think it means like some kind of what's the word? Like horseshoes and all that, like some kind of special thing put on the feet. Allahu